Aliens claimed no creature could survive the Deathworld, but humans built cities. Their commander Zexthal's four eyes widened in disbelief as the reconnaissance data streamed across his holographic display. The readings had to be wrong. They simply had to be. "Run the scans again," he ordered, his mandibles clicking nervously. Lieutenant Kavra, a young Vorthan with barely shed-molting scales, hesitated. "Sir, we've run them 17 times. The results are consistent." The bridge of the Eternal Vigilance fell silent except for the gentle hum of life support systems. Zexthal stared at the impossible data before him. Planet designation XK-739, officially classified as a Class 12 Deathworld, the highest possible threat rating, was showing signs of civilization. Not just any civilization. Advanced civilization. "Impossible," whispered Science Officer Talani, her crystalline form shimmering with distress patterns. "Nothing can survive on XK-739. The atmospheric composition alone would dissolve most known species in minutes." Zexthal had read the original survey reports. XK-739 was a nightmare world that defied comprehension. Atmospheric pressure that would crush most starships. Gravity 3 times galactic standard. Temperatures that swung from molten metal hot to frozen gas cold within rotational periods. Weather systems that generated wind speeds exceeding escape velocity. Tectonic activity that could split continents. And perhaps most terrifying of all, acidic precipitation that could eat through military-grade hull plating. The Galactic Council had unanimously classified it as eternally uninhabitable. It was used as a cautionary tale in xenobiology classes across civilized space. Yet here they were, staring at energy signatures that indicated not just life, but thriving metropolises. Could it be an automated system? Suggested Navigator Quindal. Perhaps some ancient civilization left behind self-replicating machines. Talani shook her head, her crystalline body casting prismatic light across the bridge. "The thermal signatures indicate biological activity. Massive biological activity. There are millions of life forms down there." Zexthal felt his heart sink. As a member of the Galactic Enforcement Division, he knew what this meant. An undiscovered species had not only survived on a Class 12 Deathworld, but had apparently mastered it. The implications for galactic security were staggering. "Sir," Kavra's voice was barely above a whisper, "we're receiving a transmission." The bridge fell silent. Communications from a Deathworld were unprecedented. "Audio only," Zexthal commanded. Static filled the bridge, followed by a sound none of them had ever heard before, a rhythmic, almost musical vocalization. "Greetings, unidentified vessel. This is traffic control for New Shanghai Orbital Station. Please state your business and prepare for standard biological quarantine procedures. Welcome to Earth." Earth. They called their Deathworld Earth. Talani's form flickered with confusion patterns. "Sir, their language is completely unknown, but our universal translators are managing partial conversion. They seem to be welcoming us?" "Welcoming us?" Zexthal's mandibles clicked rapidly. "To a Deathworld?" The transmission continued. "We're transmitting approach vectors for Landing Bay 7. Please be advised that our atmospheric processors are currently managing a Category 4 hurricane in the Pacific sector, so expect some turbulence on descent. Our environmental suits are available if your species requires protection from our standard atmosphere." Environmental suits. For visitors. To help them survive the planet's natural conditions. Zexthal made a decision that would haunt him for cycles to come. Set course for the landing coordinates. The descent through XK-739's atmosphere was the most terrifying experience of his military career. Winds that should have torn their ship apart merely caused what the natives called turbulence. Lightning strikes that should have fried their electronics were apparently common enough that the landing beacon automatically adjusted for electromagnetic interference. When they finally touched down, Zexthal stared through the viewports at the impossible sight before them, a city. A vast gleaming city that stretched beyond the horizon, its towers reaching into the toxic sky like monuments to impossibility. Vehicles moved through the air with casual ease, their occupants apparently unbothered by the hostile environment. In the distance, massive installations pumped and churned, and Talani's readings indicated they were actively modifying the planet's weather patterns. "Sir." Kavra's voice was faint. "Life form approaching." Through the landing bay's atmospheric shield, a figure approached. It was bipedal, shorter than most galactic species, with pale skin partially covered by what appeared to be adaptive clothing. No environmental suit, no breathing apparatus. It was surviving in the raw atmosphere of a Class 12 Deathworld. The figure raised one appendage in what universal translators identified as a greeting gesture and spoke. "Welcome to Earth. I'm Sarah Chen, Xenological Liaison. Sorry about the weather. We're having a particularly active storm season this year. Nothing major, just some F5 tornadoes and acid rain. Hope your ship's shielding held up okay." Zexthol's translator struggled with concepts like nothing major being applied to phenomena that could level cities. We. Zexthol struggled to form words. "How do you survive here?" Sarah tilted her head, an expression that somehow conveyed confusion. "Survive? Oh, you mean the environment. Yeah, Earth's a bit rough around the edges, but it's home, you know? My grandmother used to say that Earth doesn't want to kill us, it just wants to make sure we're paying attention." She gestured toward the city. "We've learned to work with the planet rather than against it. Tornado season means free energy generation. Volcanic activity gives us geothermal power. The acid rain is actually pretty useful for certain industrial processes once you filter it properly. But the gravity," Telani whispered through the comm. "The atmospheric pressure. Oh, are you folks from a light world? Don't worry, we've got low G sections in the city for visitors, and pressure suits if you need them. Though I have to warn you, some of our teenagers think it's funny to show off by bench pressing visiting dignitaries. I'll make sure they behave." As they toured the impossible city, Zexthol began to understand. These creatures, humans they called themselves, hadn't just survived their death world, they had embraced it. They had taken every deadly aspect of their planet and turned it into a tool. They surfed tsunamis for recreation. They built homes that could withstand direct meteor strikes and called it standard construction. They had domesticated predators that could bite through starship hull plating and called them pets. Most disturbing of all, they spoke of venturing to other worlds. Worlds they described as too safe and boring. When Zexthol finally returned to his ship, he stared at the communication console for long moments before composing his report. To Galactic Command. Species designation, human. Planet of origin, XK-739. Redesignated as Earth. Threat level. He paused, his claws hovering over the keys. Recommendation: do not engage in hostilities. Repeat. Do not engage in hostilities. Any species capable of thriving on a Class 12 death world and referring to it as a bit rough around the edges should be approached with extreme caution and preferably generous trade agreements. He added a personal note. They invited us to stay for something called a barbecue during a solar flare event. I declined. As the Eternal Vigilance departed Earth's orbit, Sarah Chen's final words echoed in Zexthol's mind. "Come back any time. And hey, if you ever want to experience some real excitement, we're planning a colony on that lava planet in the Kepler system. You're welcome to join us." Zexthol shuddered and plotted a course for the nearest Galactic Council station. Some discoveries, he decided, were too terrifying to keep to oneself.